So, I work for the world's oldest radiological society. It was set up about 18 months after the discovery of X-ray. We're not a professional body, we're about the science of imaging. So our members are drawn from all those professions who have an interest in it, which means we're multidisciplinary. Our core members are radiologists, radiographers, medical physicists, the sort of people you'd find in a radiology department in a hospital. As a result of which, it's not mandatory to join us, so they all have their own professional bodies. It means that we have to be that much more attractive for them to join. We're slightly unusual in that we also have company members as well. We call them subscribers, and we offer membership to them on an equal basis to individuals. And we're also a small society publisher. Our main publication is a journal called BJR, British Journal of Radiology, and that is the world's oldest radiological journal. And we're a registered charity, and we have a royal charter. So our traditional income streams for many years were membership subscriptions. I joined in 2009, and at that time subscriptions had fallen. I felt we'd gone below a critical mass. We were down to about 1,000 members, which I felt made us really quite unsustainable. Other key income streams were from running lecture-based events, so face-to-face stuff, but it was stuff where you'd turn up for the event, you'd sign in, you'd sit at the back of the room, maybe you'd fall asleep, and then you'd get your CPD certificate on the way out. And then there were a couple of other income streams that were really outside of our charitable objects, so running events for other organisations. So we became known as event managers, and there were one or two sister organisations where we ran the events for them. That was fine, except it did take us away from developing our own educational programme, so there was an opportunity cost to it. And the other thing was we were living in quite a big building, and in order to shore that up, we were letting rooms, which then meant that you needed to have staff who were devoted to selling rooms and running the events in them, which probably wasn't what we should have been doing. The biggest income stream for us was selling subscriptions to institutional subscribers, so academic bodies, libraries, to our journals. But that also was on a downward trajectory, so we were losing subscribers, and the impact factor of our main journal was also on a downward trend. And we published a few books. So I joined 2009. This is where we were living. This is a Grade 2 listed Georgian building in Portland Place, so just up the road from here. Really pretty. This is the library. Almost nobody visited it. We had about 300 visits from members a year to the library. It was wildly expensive. It was also huge, 10,500 square feet for 23 staff. It cost a lot of money to run and maintain. And in the year before I joined, we had a turnover of £1.4 million, and there was a net loss on that of nearly £250,000. In addition, there was no money left in the bank really. Our reserves, our free reserves, were down to about £400,000. So I realised quite quickly that another 18 months like that and we would cease to exist, even though we had this huge asset, the building. So we did the inevitable survey to members. And when you get comments like this, it really focuses the mind. It reinforced what we thought, and we knew that we had to change. There was absolutely no choice. So we developed a new strategy. this was from the 1st of April 2011, and there were 5 key themes. So, to expand membership, to develop and deliver proper CPD accredited education, to grow our publishing offer, to build external relations, which is something we'd never really done before. And in order to do all of the above, we had to improve our infrastructure. But the big thing was we were sitting on our biggest asset. We got buy-in from our trustees, and we got agreement that we would operate at a deficit for the entirety of this 5-year strategy, and possibly beyond. There was recognition that we would probably get worse before we were able to improve. So what did we do? So in terms of membership, we looked at our membership benefits packages, both for individuals and companies, and completely revised them, and then did some proactive selling. Now that only really took off probably about 18 months to 2 years ago, and we've gone up in that time from about 1,000 members to 2,500. So we're going in the right direction. It's still relatively small, especially as the core market to us is probably about 40,000 professionals who could theoretically join us. So there's still huge scope. And we've got 26 company members as well. We also offer group deals. So if you work in a radiology department and there are 5 or more of you, we will offer a discount on the membership fee. And we also offer that now to companies. So some of the companies that belong to us employ radiologists or radiographers, and they can come to us and we will organise a group deal for them. Our company members are also eligible to be our platinum sponsors, and that means we give them exposure across the whole of our education programme. So that involves both online and face-to-face. It means that they're mentioned on our programmes for events, their logos are splashed over our website, they can bring an exhibition stand to our events, they can send a couple of delegates, and we've got 2 that are signed up to that. And we also have a jobs board, so we launched this probably a couple of years ago. So here's the website. We run it in, we actually outsource it to a third party that specialises in this called Your Membership, and they sell advertising space on our behalf. They also pull in relevant adverts for jobs from other websites as well. And we split the income with them 50-50. Now for us, the biggest potential in terms of growth is education. It's the key benefit that our members want. But all of our members are constrained, both in terms of time, it's really difficult getting time out of the day job, and also in terms of money. So with the financial constraints in the NHS, training and education budgets have been slashed. So there's the challenge for us. So what we've done is we've grown educational opportunities that are not just face-to-face, but also online, blended learning. We do run more face-to-face events, but we've made them more interactive. So something like this, we'll have voting pads, we might have e-posters outside in the exhibition space, we could have someone who is live linked in, a speaker, say, from America. We also do some hands-on courses as well, so small group work with maybe 15 or 20 radiologists in a room. They'll be surrounded by screens and they'll be interpreting what they see on them. And that's the sort of thing we never did before. At all of our events, we have exhibition space, and as I mentioned, we've moved more towards online as well. So at events like this, we will film the lecturers, and then that will be available online afterwards along with their slides. 2 years ago, we launched a monthly webinar program. So once a month, we have a key speaker anyone can register for it. You don't have to be a member, and at the moment it's all free. In fact, all of our online offer is currently free. And it goes out both live and then is available on demand afterwards. We've turned our e-posters into podcasts. We've just created our first instructional video. We also, because our members want to access events close to home and have things that are maybe shorter, so they don't have to take a full day out of their working life, we have created regional branches, so set up by volunteer members for people in the locality. So we've just launched our 7th regional branch, and that's in the southwest. And we now have them dotted around the country. We don't cover the whole country yet, but each branch runs 2 or 3 events per year for people in the locality. So it means they don't have to come into London all the time. We had been accused of being London-centric, but about 40% of our events now take place around the country. In addition, we're doing bite-sized events. We launched these last year, so you can come along in the evening for something that maybe has a couple of keynote speakers and then some networking time afterwards. And again, maybe it's about 6 till 9 in the evening. You can do the day job and then come along. We're also taking all of the above, and then once we've used it once, we're trying to use it a second time or a third time. So produce once, use often. And we're taking things that we have already developed. So it could be a full-day event, it could be a webinar, it could be articles from BJR, it could be a webinar. We put them all together in a subject area. So we're working on 2 at the moment. One is musculoskeletal ultrasound, it's a bit of a mouthful, and one is fetal MRI. And we're putting them into a program that we're calling a portfolio, and candidates can work through these things and tick them off as they've done them. At the end of it, they'll get a certificate of completion. It doesn't mean that they are good enough to do something, because we're not an accrediting body, but it does mean they've completed an additional program of learning, and it could mean that therefore, if they're up against another person at an interview who hasn't done that, it just might give them the edge. And we've also launched an approval process. So this is approving a course and saying, this meets our quality standards. So it's not a tick box, it's not 1 hour equals 1 CPD point. It is taking elements of the course, the content, the delivery methods, the learning outcomes, and saying, actually, these meet all of our quality criteria. And then you can get this approval stamp that you can see on the slide from us. And again, we charge for that. Our lowest hanging fruit when we went through all of this change was publishing. So BJR was already a very well-established journal, but as I mentioned, it was having difficulties. So we relaunched it 4 years ago. We've now completely streamlined the production processes. We had a massive backlog of articles. We printed all of those. We are now working very actively on increasing the quality of it, improving the quality of it, as a result of which the impact factor has started to rise. And last year it just went above 2, which is quite a good benchmark for us to get above. We've also stopped the slide in sales to institutional subscribers. But that is something else that's quite interesting. So anyone here who publishes, especially in the academic world, you will know that the big thing now is open access, which means that rather than having content embargoed for a year, during which the only people who can access it are those who have bought a subscription, now a lot of academic information is available open access, so free of charge from the moment it's published, which gives publishers a bit of a dilemma because their traditional income stream is being threatened. So we've launched a new spin-off journal BJR case reports. It does what it says on the tin. It is publishing case reports. And the new income model, the new business model for that is that once your article has been double-blind peer-reviewed, which is what all ours go through, and has been accepted, the author then pays an author processing charge in order to have it freely available. So ours is called BIR Open, and that's a growth area for us. We've also taken the back catalogue of BJR, going back to 1896. We've digitised the whole lot, and we sell that now as a package to institutional subscribers, and that's a one-off package that they buy from us. And going back to the produce once, use often approach, we're looking at the content that we have printed, that we've published in BJR and its sister journals, and we're slicing that up according to subject matter, and we can then sell that to niche markets, and we can use it to develop CPD as well. A few other things we're doing in publishing. So we publish a few books. This one is from about 18 months ago, Single Best Answers for Trainee Radiologists who are studying for their final exams. To support that, we developed our first app. It generates income, but no surplus. It costs us significantly more to develop than we are earning from it, but it's actually great for awareness raising, and it shows that we are doing modern things. We also publish on behalf of other societies, actually one other society, the International Association of Dental Maxillofacial Radiography. We publish their journal for them, so it's another income generator. And we are looking at the moment to develop multiple choice questions and have them on offer for CPD purposes, and that will be launched later this year. We also sell advertising space on our websites. We have two websites, the main one, and this is our publications website, and you'll see at the top here, just here, there's a banner ad for Philips. They are one of our corporate subscribers. We also sell sponsorship opportunities to companies to support the occasional book that we'll publish, our e-newsletter. We have an e-table of contents that goes out about BJR once a month. So there are opportunities there as well. It's very small, but it does generate a bit of income. So you'll recall, the year before I joined, our turnover was 1.4 million with a huge operating loss. We then dipped significantly in terms of how much money we brought in. This is the new financial year. Income is budgeted at 1.8 million. By far the biggest income generator is publishing, and that's about 60% of our income. We're not out of the woods yet. We're still operating at a deficit, so expenditure is about 100,000 more than the income we bring in. But our new strategy, which is for 2016 to 19, we hope that by the end of it, we will just about be operating at a surplus. So that's when we see that we'll be out of the woods. So how do we govern all of this? Well, obviously as a charity, we have a trustee board, our council, made up half of people from our traditional member base and half from people who bring in expertise from outside. So investment experts, business skills, accountants, people from publishing, communication and education. They also participate in committees to do with finance and investment and audit, and we have committees for the main, the key themed areas, so education, publishing, external affairs. We have a very proactive senior management team as well who are specialists in their area, and we meet monthly and go through a number of different documents to check how we are doing against what we said we would do. So we have a 3-year strategy, we have an annual business plan, we have an annual budget, we have KPIs annually. Then against those, we have ways of monitoring them. So we have monthly management accounts, a balanced scorecard, a performance pack, a risk register, annual external audit. and both the senior management team and the trustees look at all of these documents. So what do we consider too commercial? Well, we make sure that there's a balance between what our members get for free and what we charge them a bit extra for. We also make sure that there's a differential between what our members pay, so for instance to come to one of our events, versus what a non-member would pay. There's clear water between the two. But all of our events are very competitive because they're very competitively priced, because there is a market out there that we have to take note of. In terms of our company members, they are all equal in our eyes, and we have some of the biggest, so household names like GE, Siemens, Toshiba, Philips, versus small startups that you will never have heard of. As far as we're concerned, they're all equal. And one thing we never do is endorse their products. So we're happy for them to raise awareness through us, but no product endorsement. And we're very keen that we do not commercialise everything we do. And in fact, I think every new development, we pay for the pump priming of it. So we're not in the pockets of any of the companies who we work with. And future growth, well, CPD we think is a huge potential area of growth for us, especially online. Our publishing and our education teams are working collaboratively more and more, and we see the products that each is developing complementing the other side of our organisation. So for instance, at the moment our publishing team is working on PPE, that's personal protective equipment. So for instance, if you work in an area where there's radiation. So they're developing a booklet, they're developing posters. Our education team is working with them because they think they can invite someone to do a webinar about it, and maybe there's a full-day event in there as well. The other thing is open access. So on the publishing side, we think there's a lot of scope here. We're looking at possibly launching another journal within the next couple of years, and we've just launched our first open access e-book as well. So that's the end of my presentation.
Excellent. So,